What would you do if your country wasn't letting you be free? Would you let your voice be heard and try to revolt? Would you try to have faith in a broken system and try to vote in a new president? Or would you keep your head down and try to leave? Road 96 asks this question of what you would try to do. The game takes place in a fictional country called Petria, ruled by President Tyrak under authoritarian rule, who has been ruling since 1986. During his reign, strange things have been happening with teenagers, with them going missing and rumours of a location called the Pits, a teenager prisoner work camp. However, Tyrak and the police force deny its existence. You play as one of these teenagers who embark on a road trip to the border of Petria to try and cross and escape. Along the journey with our playable character, you encounter 8 different characters on our path, each with their own individual stories that we'll figure out as the game progresses. Something I want to mention is that this game is procedurally generated, meaning that for my journey, I might start in a limo with a famous news reporter and then go on to a fast food restaurant getting robbed, but you might start in a taxi with an insane man and then you might go to a bus with a police officer. Everyone's journey is completely different. Now, I don't want this to become an informative review style video. I just want to create something to just talk about something I love, and maybe you guys can get into the game yourselves from this video. When I first started my journey in Road 96, the first thing I did notice was the soundtrack. The game uses music to set the scene so expertly for the situation at hand. Some of my favourite standout songs were Home Call, Her Name Was Connie, and The Road were definitely my 3 personal favourites, especially The Road, and I can see myself listening to that song in my free time. Now, let's delve a little further into the story and the characters. I told you guys a small part about Tyrak and teenagers, but let's talk a little more about our 8 characters. First, we have Zoe, a teenager just like you trying to cross the border. Her father is the Minister of Oil, a very important person in Tyrak's regime. Next, we have Stan and Mitch, 2 bank robber brothers who definitely are not the smartest in the game, but they're probably the most funny. Next up is Jared, a deranged taxi man with an obsession with killing the news reporter Sonia Sanchez. Sonia is a news reporter who takes advantage of the corruptness of the country to her own benefit. Then we have Alex, a 14-year-old computer genius who's looking for information on his biological parents. Next, his adoptive mother, Fanny, a police officer with a hatred for the group the Black Brigades. And finally we have John. Despite his massive size, he's actually an extremely kind character and is part of the aforementioned brigades. Now onto the story, and you play as a teenager who is nameless and faceless, and I really like this. I think it makes it easier to slip yourself into the role of the character. It's like you're supposed to envision them as you, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Now, when you start your journey, you'll be locked into an encounter that are usually one of 2 ways. Either you'll be given an open area to explore and find who you're meant to speak to, or you'll be locked in a specific area, usually a car or a bike or something of that matter. Now, some of these encounters might just be a little bit of fun, like partying in your car with Sonia, playing the trumpet with Zoe, or playing football with a drunk John. However, some can be deeper and tell you about the world and the characters around it. For example, with John, there's an encounter where he gives the teenager a lift in his truck, and he keeps falling asleep behind the wheel. In the back, you can find a picture of his deceased girlfriend Connie, who died on the last election day in 1989 due to an explosion caused by the brigades. Now, sometimes in encounters, in dialogue, you'll have a choice of 3 symbols: a fist, a vote, and a bindle. Choosing these options will change the country of Petria and how they view Tyrak, and will slightly tip the scales in the favour of one. Like I said at the start of the video, would you vote, fight, or flee? And depending on which side you lean towards the most, it can change your ending. And it will also change the votes in the upcoming election. Now, when you make it to Road 96, you go through a cave and leave your mark for others and possibly leave money. Then you make it to the border and have to choose how to cross, with there being a variety of options. In my playthrough, I chose to go through an abandoned tunnel. Now, whether you die, get sent to the pits, or make it to freedom, what happens next is it shows in the upcoming months, election day, and the chaos which will ensue. Afterwards, you're taken to the Sonia show, where you will pick another teenager. You can see their money, how much energy they have, and how close they are to the border. Now, money and energy are very important. Energy is the bar at the top left of the screen, and you use it when you go anywhere. Money is used to buy things, obviously, usually things that bring your energy back, like food or a bed to sleep in. Now, something I noticed on my journey, which I really enjoyed, was the phone booth. Now, usually the phone booth is used to call a taxi, however, there are 2 other options on it. The first one being used. With this, you can call a variety of different numbers scattered around the country of Petria, with my 2 personal favourites being the ability to donate to Tyrak or his opponent Flores. However, the other option, the call home option, is the one I enjoyed the most. Depending on your playthrough, you'll get a different answer and a different person to talk to. For example, in my first playthrough, I talked to my character's sister, who told me that if I don't make it across the border, that she would be mad at me. Now, that small interaction really spoke to me. It feels like it adds higher stakes to the situation because you feel like you have the backing of your family behind you. Now, the art style and the music does an amazing job of giving the game a relaxing atmosphere, while allowing you to take in the sights, while also embracing the scenario you find yourself in. I think the soundtrack in this game is phenomenal. I've already given my thoughts on it, but I really want to drive that point home, that the soundtrack is really amazing. Now, that's really all I want to say, because I want you guys to experience this game for yourselves. I hope I convinced some of you to check it out, or if you already own it, maybe consider replaying it again. But with all that said, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.